This is a $567 gaming PC built entirely from the used market, and its mission is simple: smooth 1440p gaming in 2026. But to get there, we have to take some risks on the hardware and optimize the system for modern titles. Welcome back to Nexify. Today, we're pushing this budget system to its absolute limit. Make sure you stick around because later I'm going to show you the exact tuning steps I used to squeeze over 20% extra performance out of these parts. Let's talk about the hardware, starting with gamble number 1, the CPU. I scored this Intel i7-8700K, an MSI Z390M motherboard, and a decent air cooler as a combo for under $90. It's an insane deal, but in 2026, relying on a 6-core processor from 2017 is risky. We're going to find out if it bottlenecks our system in the benchmarks. Gamble number 2 is the GPU. I snagged this MSI Ventus RTX 3070 Ti for a steal. It has the raw raster power for 1440p, but its 8GB of VRAM could be a problem in modern titles. And to feed data to the CPU, I threw in 32GB of DDR4. It's running at 3200 megatransfers but with a sluggish CL22 latency because it lacks XMP profiles. I'll show you how to manually tighten those timings when we optimize the system later. Factor in the power supply, storage, and a case, the entire build clocks in at $567. But a spec sheet doesn't tell the whole story. Let's see how this build actually handles 1440p. To get a quick baseline, I ran 3D Mark TimeSpy. The overall score looks fine, and the 3070 Ti still packs a punch. But that CPU score confirms exactly what I was worried about. The 8700K is definitely showing its age, but these are just theoretical numbers, so let's look at actual gameplay. First up is CS2. To completely isolate our CPU and RAM, I dropped the resolution to 1080p and the graphics settings at low. On paper, an average of 300 FPS seems okay, but playing it feels awful. If you look at the frame time graph, it's choppy as hell. That sluggish CL22 RAM is forcing the CPU to constantly wait for data, dragging our 1% lows down to a brutal 124. Next, I'm throwing Cyberpunk 2077 at it on 1440p Ultra. The GPU is completely maxed out, and while we're averaging around 67 FPS, the frame times start to spike hard when we go outdoors, dipping our 1% lows to 44, and then the whole system just died. I had absolutely no idea why it shut off like that. The 850W BSU should be more than enough for this rig. Right now, it completely refused to boot again, no matter what I do. Initially, I thought the 3070 Ti hit a massive power spike that triggers the power supply's overcurrent protection, so I tried to hard reset it by flipping the switch, but it didn't work. After taking a deeper look, I found the real issue. Yeah, it's dirty as hell. The motherboard VRMs were completely buried in dust after these years. Dust basically acts like a thermal blanket, so when I pushed the system in Cyberpunk, those VRMs overheated and triggered the motherboard's protections to shut everything down. Let's give the board a deep clean and hope the system comes back to life. At this point, I'm incredibly lucky nothing shorted out. With the board breathing again, let's get back into Cyberpunk. The bottleneck is quite obvious in actual gameplay. Walking around the city, the 3070 Ti couldn't even get to 90% utilization because the 8700K is heavily overwhelmed by the NPCs and objects around, which is what's keeping those 1% lows trapped around 30 in populated areas. To prove the CPU is the actual bottleneck, I fired up Forza Horizon 6 on 1440p high. We're getting 70 FPS on average, and our 1% lows are sitting at 54 because the 3070 Ti has to wait for the 8700K. But watch what happens when we run the game at 4K. By pushing the resolution to 4K, we shift most of the workload onto the 3070 Ti, which now maxes out at 99% utilization, and ironically, we didn't lose many frames compared to 1440p. So, the GPU raster power is there, it's the CPU bottlenecking at 1440p. Red Dead Redemption 2 tells the exact same story on 1440p max graphics. Out in the wild, the 3070 Ti easily pushes this massive open world, where past a populated area, those microstutters instantly return. We're averaging 83 FPS, but the CPU is struggling to keep up, dragging our 1% lows down to 62. The entire build works, but this antique CPU is holding it back. Now we've found the problem. Let's jump straight into the BIOS. We need to overclock the 8700K, tighten up those memory timings, and don't forget to save the settings. Once we boot back into Windows, I'll empty out the background bloatware using Win11 debloat. And finally, fire up Afterburner to set a custom voltage curve on the 3070 Ti. If you need a step-by-step guide on how to do any of this yourself, I'll link my optimization guides down in the description. Alright, let's look at the results after optimizing the system. First, a quick check on our TimeSpy baseline. After overclocking the 8700K and tuning the 3070 Ti, our CPU score jumped from 6405 to almost 8300, and the GPU score was 1000 higher. It's a massive performance gain, but let's see if it actually translates to higher frames in games. Loading back into CS2 at 1080p low, the handling difference is night and day. Look at the frame time graph, the line is much smoother. The average FPS shot from 300 to 413, but more importantly, our 1% lows climbed from 124 to a buttery smooth 181. Moving to Cyberpunk on 1440p Ultra, cruising through the city actually feels responsive now instead of laggy. Overclocking the 8700K finally gave the 3070 Ti the headroom it desperately needed. Look at the benchmark data. Those massive frame time spikes are gone now. The average bumped from 67 to 72 FPS, while our 1% lows climbed from 44 to 51, making the whole experience substantially more playable. Next is Forza Horizon 6 on 1440p high. Take a look at the chart here. The GPU tuning combined with the CPU overclock boosted our average from 70 to a whopping 90 FPS, and our 1% lows surged from 54 to 70. Finally, Red Dead Redemption 2 on 1440p max graphics. Running through populated towns used to tank our frame times, but now it feels seamless. Dropping into benchmark graph, you can see the average FPS pushed from 83 up to 91, and our 1% lows stabilized from 62 to a 68. So, can a $600 used gaming PC handle 1440p gaming in 2026? Absolutely, but only if you're willing to put in the work. Hardware is only half the equation for these kind of builds. The real value comes from how you tune them. If you want to see exactly how to apply these overclocking and optimization steps to your own rig, check out the PC tuning guides on my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Nexify out.